Welcome to another session of Grade 9 Mathematics, Chapter 5, Introduction to Euclid Geometry. Dear students, in this third and the final part of this chapter, we shall discuss the solutions to the questions given in NCERT exercises. NCERT exercise 5.1, question number 1. Which of the following statements are true and which are false? Give reasons for your answers. So we have a set of 5 statements. We have to answer which are true and which are false with reasons. So let us get to the first question. The first question or the statement is, only one line can pass through a single point. Only one line can pass through a single point. The answer is false. Because if you could get into the figure, say this is a point, and you can find that infinite lines can actually pass through a given point. You can find that many lines can pass through the given point P. So this statement given is incorrect, hence the answer is false. The second statement is, there are an infinite number of lines which pass through two distinct points. The answer is false, because we have already discussed as part of Euclid's postulate number 1 that there can be only one line that can pass through two distinct points. So the statement given over here is there can be infinite number of lines which can pass through two distinct points, which is incorrect. There can be only one line that can pass through a given 2 points. So the correct answer is false. The third statement given is, a terminated line can be produced indefinitely on both the sides. This statement is true, because we have already discussed this statement as part of Euclid's postulate number 2. The fourth statement is, if two circles are equal, then the radii will also be equal. Yes, it is true, because if two circles are equal, their centers and their circumference will coincide with each other. Hence, if they coincide with each other, the only way it could be is their radius should be equal. Hence, the given statement is true. Coming to the fifth and the last statement of question number 1. It is given that in the figure, if AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY, then AB will be equal to XY. I repeat, if AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY, then AB and XY would also be equal to one another. Yes, this statement is true, because this is what was discussed in Euclid's axiom, that if things are equal to the same thing, then they would be equal to one another. Here AB is equal to PQ and XY is also equal to PQ. So these are the two things which are equal to the same thing. Hence, they will be equal to one another also. I hope you have understood all the 5 statements of question number 1. Now let us get into exercise 5.1, question number 4. The question states that if a point C lies between 2 points A and B such that AC is equal to BC, then prove that AC is half of AB. Explain this by drawing the figure. Let us get to the solution of this question.
So, as given the question, there is a point C that lies between A and B. So that is part of the given data, that there is a point C that lies between A and B. So if I try to draw a figure, this is how it would look like. So this is point A and this is point B. There is a point C which lies between these 2 points A and B such that AC is equal to BC. It is also given that AC is equal to BC. So let me use this data and try to draw the figure. Say this is it, how the figure may look like. So I've got the points A and B, and C is the point between A and B such that AC is equal to BC. Okay, now what am I supposed to prove? I am supposed to prove that AC is equal to half of AB. Okay, now let's get to the solution. As over here you can clearly from the figure you can state that AB, the length of AB will be equal to AC plus BC. That is from the figure itself. Now I can write that AB is equal to, I've got two parts, one is AC, the other one is BC. It is already given in the question itself that AC and BC are equal to one another. So what I shall do over here is, I shall write this AC as it is, plus this BC will be replaced by AC. Why? Because it is already given that AC and BC are equal to one another. So BC is replaced by AC. So in the next step, I shall write AB is equal to AC plus AC happens to be 2AC. Okay. Now, if this 2 goes over here, I know this will become AB upon 2 is equal to AC. Now this AB upon 2 can be written as half AB. All what I've done is separated this 2. So this becomes 1 upon 2 into AB is equal to AC. This is actually what we have been asked to prove. We have been asked to prove that AC is half of AB. So that's what we have got. AC is half of AB. I believe you have understood the solution to this question number 4.
Students, so let us now get into exercise 5.1, question number 5, which states that in question number 4, point C is called a midpoint of line segment AB. So this refers to the previous question, wherein point C is called a midpoint of line segment AB. Prove that every line segment has one and only one midpoint. So using question number 4, we have been asked to prove that a given line segment can have only one and only one midpoint. Let's get to the solution.
So as given in the question, we have been first asked to refer to the previous question, that is question number 4, wherein it has been proved that point C is the midpoint of the line segment AB. So it has been proved that point C is a midpoint of line segment AB. This is in reference to question number 4, and we have been asked to refer to question number 4. So given that C is a midpoint, hence can I say that AC is half of AB? AC will be half of AB since C is the midpoint. That's the given data. Here we have been asked to prove that this given line segment can have only and only one midpoint. How are we going to do that is, let us assume D is midpoint of AB. So let us assume that D is the midpoint of AB. So let me place say D over here. Yeah. Remember, what are we supposed to prove? That there can be only one midpoint. But what have we done over here is, we have assumed that, let's say, it could have one more midpoint, and that is midpoint D. So if D is the midpoint, what does that conclude? That AD is half of AB. When you consider D as a midpoint, kindly don't consider C. So what can we say? When D is the midpoint, AD is half of AB. So therefore, AD will be half of AB. Say this was finding number 1. This is your finding number 2. Now from 1 and 2, you get that AC is half of AB. Over here, AD is also half of AB. So what can you conclude? That AC and AD are equal to the same thing. Hence, they are equal to one another also. Therefore, AC will be equal to AD. That means the length of AC will be equal to length of AD in this given figure. This is only possible when the point C and point D is the same. I repeat, AC will be equal to AD only and only when point C is the same as point D. And we know that a given point cannot be named by two different alphabets. Hence, it is not possible that this given line segment will have two midpoints. So, we can conclude that the given line segment has only one and only one midpoint, and that is midpoint C. You can write the concluding line from the question over here. I hope that's clear to you. So this was solution to question number 5.
Now, let us get into exercise 5.1, question number 6. The question is, in the given figure, if AC is equal to BD, then prove that AB is equal to CD. Let us understand it from the figure. They say if AC is equal to BD, then prove that AB is equal to CD. Let us get to the solution of this question and use a figure at the same time.
So, in question number 6, the figure is already given, the one which is drawn over here. It is also given that AC is equal to BD. So, if you get into the figure, AC is equal to BD. And we have been asked to prove that AB is equal to CD. That is, AB is equal to CD. So, what we shall first do is, we shall write the given thing. That is, AC is equal to BD. Now, if I look at AC, AC can be written as AB plus BC. So, AC will be written as AB plus BC equal to BD. Now, BD can be written as BC plus CD, isn't it? BD can be written as BC plus CD. So, I'll write BC plus CD. Now, if you observe, you have got BC on either side of the equal. So, what we can do in the next step is subtract BC from both sides or cancel out BC because it's the same value. So, what we're left now with is AB on the LHS equal to CD on the RHS. So, we have got AB is equal to CD, which is actually what we're supposed to prove. So, I hope you have understood the solution to this question number 6.
So now let us get into the last question of exercise 5.1. Question number 7. Why is axiom 5 in the list of Euclid's axiom considered a universal truth? I repeat, why is axiom 5 in the list of Euclid's axioms considered a universal truth? The question also says that note that the question is not about the fifth postulate. So it's about the fifth axiom. Let us understand and try to recall what is the fifth axiom all about. So Euclid's fifth axiom states that the whole is greater than the part. We have been asked to explain why this is a universal truth. Let me give an explanation with the help of a figure. As you could see, this is one whole rectangle. Let's consider this to be the whole rectangle itself. In the figure below, what I've done is I've divided this whole rectangle into 3 parts. And it can be seen over here that each part or each smaller rectangle or each part of this rectangle is actually smaller than the whole. Or in other words, the whole of the rectangle is always greater than the parts of this rectangle. So I hope the answer to this question is very clear to you with the explanation of this figure. So here we come to the end of NCERT exercise 5.1. This chapter has got another exercise 5.2 wherein there are 2 questions. I prefer you students try to solve those 2 questions on your own. So this is all for this session. Take care of yourself until we meet next time with another session. Thank you.